everybody! We are back at it again. Sorry I missed last week. I was not feeling so good and it wouldn't have been enjoyable for any of you. So this week we're gonna do a fun, vaguely Halloween themed, kinda spooky drawing. So my whole idea is that we're gonna draw Hazel, Griff, and Russell sitting around a campfire telling some fun spooky stories in the woods. And unlike usual, I'm not going to start with like a rough sketch. We're starting with a completely blank page, so if I make any horrible dumb mistakes, all of you get to see them. I don't get to hide them away. So yeah, I guess we're just going to hop right into it. So my idea for this one is we're going to have a fire kind of here. Is Russell gonna have a tiny pumpkin? Probably not. He is gonna be sitting with Beatrice, though, I decided. They're gonna be deep in the woods somewhere, far from the safety of Graycove, listening to scary stories. And of course our yapper Hazel's gonna be the one telling them, so let's put her in first. So I think for her, what I want to do is have her kind of sitting on the ground here. I think I want her to be cross-legged, doing the like leaned forward with her arms out, really, you know, enunciating, telling a big story kind of pose. So we're gonna sketch her in first. She's gonna be sitting with her legs crossed. Is anyone gonna be drinking tea or cocoa? Probably not, but I was thinking of having like a rustic looking little pot where they're making maybe like a soup or something for the night. But we're gonna figure it out as we go. Neck a little bit longer there. Let's have this hand kind of open like this. Ugh, don't like that. Okay, who should she be looking at? Griff or Russell? She's trying to scare them. I don't think Griff would really be that freaked out by any scary story she could throw his way. Maybe vaguely creeped out, you know? And I think I'm gonna have Russell, you know, clutching onto his little tail while he's listening to the story. What's happened on this side? Yeah, that hand was huge, I know. Make her look at Russell. You got it. That means we gotta move her head over a little bit. Can't be directly over her neck. Telling scary stories to Griff's multitude of siblings. That would be funny. She's excited, so her ears are gonna be up. There's an evil grin on her face. And Russell's being devastated from the story, and Griff is like, oh really? Going back, so looking up at her. want to block his pose, so I think his tail is going to be going from the back and then curling up like this. He's going to be holding on to it. They didn't have anything cool to steal. That's funny. A little griff over here. And he's gonna be looking much more relaxed than the other two of them, but definitely with that, like, this is kind of a dumb story expression. I think he's still having fun. I'll have to move him around a little bit so he's a little in frame a bit more, but let's... One leg is going to be kind of bent, not necessarily cross-legged. No, I don't like that. These guys down just a little bit. And see it better there. Leg to work. Actually, one leg up, one leg out. That looks better, I think. It's getting a little close to the fire, but maybe his feet are cold. I don't know. This is usually why I hide the sketching portion, so you can't see how much I go back and forth on things and mess up, but oh well. Maybe this hand's coming back this way, just to make it more of an asymmetrical pose. I often like sketches more than completed works. Yeah, me too. I find sometimes the sketches have a nice, like, natural flow to them that you can't really get with the line art when you're trying to be more, you know, careful and going back over everything. That's one reason why I like older animation a lot, is because they were taking the sketches and they were putting them through like Xerox machines to create the line art, so that's why you get that like sketchy edges on some of the older ones, like 101 Dalmatians and the Aristocats. they all have that like really nice flowing art style because of that, and I really, really like it. It's very pretty. Okay, I think I want Beatrice in here. Maybe. How do I want this? I either want her to be asleep with her head kind of coming down like this and like wrapping around. I don't know how emus actually sleep. I'm assuming not like this. But it's a cartoon. It doesn't matter. I can do what I want. Or... yeah, I like that. Yeah, it feels more, I don't know, human, like the imperfections make it much more genuine and show the human hands that made it. Yeah, I completely agree with you. I don't know, it just looks so much more organic when you see it like that. It's so pretty. That's close enough for the emu, according to the Goog. The feet usually go forward like a cat's front legs. Yeah, I've seen that before. I've looked at quite a few pictures of emus while trying to draw Beatrice. They're tricky birds to draw. Okay, I think Russell would be sitting on the blanket that he uses like a saddle when he's riding on Beatrice. So we'll have that. And I guess for the fire, they just have some rocks that they maybe picked up. Making a little circle. Just throw that in really quick. It doesn't need to be perfect. We're gonna come back and go over all this anyways. Perfect. Then, for the background, we're gonna have some nice trees coming up. Just gonna roughly throw these in. Same as the fire, they don't need to be perfect. They're just to set the mood. Hello, what's going on? Hello, we are drawing a coloring page for Graycove. If you're not familiar, that is a webcomic. The coloring pages are just a fun thing I like to do, and then I throw them up on Coffee and people can download them if they'd like, print them out, or use them in a digital format. Completely up to you. I think this is gonna be like late fall, like it's around this time of year. This is supposed to be a Halloween thing. So no leaves on the trees. It's gonna be nice and dark out. I almost got stuck raising emus. That's a weird situation to get stuck in. How does that happen? Is Russell scared from the story or trying to keep his tail from igniting? I think a bit of both. Tail igniting would be bad. But he's getting a little scared by the story. But the trees in the background makes me think of the beast from Over the Garden Wall. Man, that is the best vibe I could possibly go for. I love Over the Garden Wall. I've been wanting to watch it again. Okay. That's good enough for the background for now. So let's clean this up a little bit. Just two eyes and some antlers in the distance hiding behind a tree. That's not a bad idea. I'm thinking of putting a bird in the background somewhere, so like maybe Russell's also scared because there's some owl in the background. This is the first dream I've been able to catch. I have a question about the holidays in the story. Are there similar to ours, like Halloween, Christmas, things like that? Yes and no. They wouldn't have any holidays based on human ones, but a lot of human holidays are based on seasonal changes, which they probably would have. So like they would have probably a festival near the end of like harvesting and stuff for the season, and like they would have one in the winter. They would have one in the spring to celebrate that it's no longer winter, stuff like that. But they'd probably have their own traditions. Hazel's telling Russell about the bird that he saw and how it gobbles up foxes. Exactly. Just being a classic mean younger sister. Now let's get in here and add some details. Clean this up a little bit. We got our first snow 2 days ago, real yuck. Yeah, we've got... That was not a fun surprise. I like the cold, I don't like the snow so much anymore. Once you have to start shoveling it, that's when it's not fun anymore. I shovel all the time. Calling me a liar. So rude. Over the Garden Wall is the best holiday show ever created. I 100% agree. It is a fantastic show. I live in Florida, so snow is basically just non-existent. Very strange. Yeah, some years we get so cold here. At my old job, one of the people that worked there threw a cup of water in the air like really fast, and it froze before it hit the ground. Like it was just a mist of like little ice crystals. It was crazy. We'd have to go outside to start our cars like every hour just to let them run for 15 minutes so that they wouldn't die in the parking lots. Okay, we're gonna move her head over a little bit. It's not quite right there. A little more length. Her neck is pretty long. You guys don't have block heaters? No, we do have block heaters. That was with block heaters. And like we couldn't exactly plug them in where we were. There weren't any spots for it. Her arms are pretty long. Now that I live in Texas near the coast, we're more likely to get hurricanes than snow. I'd be a lot more scared of getting a hurricane than a blizzard. We don't really get natural disasters here. Yeah, that's true. We don't really get like earthquakes or tornadoes or hurricanes, anything like that. We have a lot of wildlife, so we get like a lot of bears, moose, stuff like that. And like I said, like it can get pretty cold and like the snow can be really annoying, but hey Luke, thanks for joining us. Okay, give her a belly patch. And her shoulder spots. It's too big. Did I miss anything interesting? Not really, we're just getting started. The only thing different this time is we're starting this one from scratch, so I started with a completely blank canvas this time, which always makes me nervous because you guys get to see all the dumb mistakes that I make while I'm drawing. But so far not too bad. I think Hazel's head is maybe a little too big. That's one bad habit I have when I'm drawing her, and most of the characters if I'm being honest, is I usually make their heads too big at first and have to go shrink them down. Let's turn this down a little bit. That's not too bad. Hand's a little big. Come on, there we go. Oop. Maybe it would help if I was on the right layer. Let's try that again. That looks better. My go-to sitting pose is usually drawing them just sitting cross-legged like this. But it's also a really annoying pose to draw, so I don't know why it's always my go-to. This leg's a little bit higher. Is it weird I sit like that? I'm sitting like this right now. I usually end up sitting cross-legged. It's just comfier. There we go. Not too bad. You probably just see the one piercing on that side. Okay, let's fix up Griff now. He's making a face like, this is a dumb story, but he's still having fun. If you two plan to sell plushies of your characters, I sure will buy a few. It would be really cool to make plushies of the characters. The main issue with that is it's really hard to find an ethical source to make the plushies. So like one that doesn't use a sweatshop or anything like that, that also wouldn't bankrupt us, or that we would have to sell at like a ridiculous price. There is exactly one Graycove plushie in existence that we know of, because Jasper made it for me by hand, I believe for Christmas or my birthday. He made me a wonderful Hazel plushie, and he had to work so hard on getting the spots on it, and it's so good. And she's weighted, which is amazing. Some of her seams are kind of falling apart, so I don't handle her too much because I don't want her to break. But she is lovely. Jasper did a very, very good job. And she's like 6 feet long. She's really long. Her legs are just like noodles. They don't have any stuffing in them, and then her like body mass is weighted. It's awesome. Yes, and his wonderful mom also helped in making it, which was very cool. Okay, I think I want Griff to be leaning back a little bit more. So I think his head pose is okay. And I think we'll shift his body forward a little bit. So he's kind of leaning back with this arm. I'm trying not to give him super skinny legs. Actually, no, I don't like this. It's like I'm trying to have his body facing towards, or his head facing towards Hazel, but his body facing this way, and that does not work. So let me fix this. Like day is important, yeah. This one will be down so that he's not completely matching Hazel's pose. Or maybe we'll try it the other way. This one is up. This one's bent like this. Is this a normal way that people sit? Ignoring the fact that his foot is currently in the fire, or on the very edge of it at the very least. Okay, his legs are too little. That's what's wrong right now. Well, you're trying to make someone marry you, you gotta do stuff for them. It definitely helped. Obviously, it was not the only reason why we're getting married. But it was a big part of it. He is very considerate. And he's very good at making things. This is my first one of your streams and I'm happy to be here. Awesome, we're happy to have you here. 6-foot swords also help. Yeah. Yeah, he proposed to me with a 6-foot long claymore, which was very, very romantic, especially because I had never told him. But at one point in high school, I remember specifically telling my friends that I didn't want to marry anyone unless they proposed to me with a sword. And I completely just, I guess, forgot about that because it was so long ago. And then he did that without me having to tell him. And if that ain't a sign, I don't know what is. When someone is stabby, you know it. Just a little bit. Just a little stabby. Maybe his other arm is coming up like this. Leaning on the knee. That's pretty dang cute. I know. Around the time when we first started dating, I had a different webcomic that's still on Webtoon called The Misadventures of Fia, and he made from scratch, completely from scratch, a little book nook of the main character Fia walking through this like cute little forest scenery, and like it lights up. There's little string lights kind of hidden throughout it, and it's so cute, and it's on my desk next to me, and I still absolutely love it. Ooh. So find yourself a good maker, because they are the best partners to have. Russell's little scared face here. Except my makers don't tidy very well. That is true. Our house is a disaster. When you have two artists in the same house, things tend to add up. Hey Penguin, thanks for joining us. Let's fix that. That ear didn't look quite right. That's a little bit better. This is still the rough sketch, so it's okay. Draw some little hands in here. There needs to be a story arc where Hazel makes the scarecrow for Russell. That's a cute idea. I'm sure Herb would also appreciate it with his garden and everything. One of the things I like drawing people, regular human characters. But one thing that I find really, really annoying is having to draw feet. And I've gotten fine at it for the most part. But that's one thing I really like about drawing these guys is that their feet are basically just stubs. They're the easiest feet to draw in the world. And I did that on purpose. See how this is looking. Wait, I was gonna ask, is Bee really the one eating the crops? I know Russ said the fence is secure, so I'm not sure if that's something I should take note of. Yeah, like Russell, I think Beatrice would get into her own little shenanigans, so maybe it was her and maybe it wasn't. You'll just have to wait and see. Griff is chillin'. Yeah, he's not impressed by Hazel's scary story. But I'm sure he's still having fun. This is why I use shoes or slippers, so you don't have to do toes. Yeah, I do. I do all of the animatics and the drawings for Red Pants Productions, which is another YouTube channel. And I don't know if anyone has noticed, but I think 90% of the time the shoes are the exact same sneakers, because those are my favorite to draw because they're the easiest. Probably should have looked up some reference pictures of emus before I started the stream, but that's okay. We'll figure it out as we go. There's another bird character that you're gonna get a sneak peek of on the next page that comes out tomorrow. And then you're gonna see a lot more on the page after that, which I was working on today. And I'm very excited because I like it a lot, but I had to look at a lot of reference images to get it looking right. did some voice acting for Red Pants too. Yeah, that's right. Jesper's voiced, I think, 2 shorts now. One which is still being made. We're only just in the beginning stages of it, so it's gonna be a while till it's out, but... Oh yeah, I noticed the bird in the previews on Coffee. Yeah! So you're gonna see more of it tomorrow on Coffee, if you remember. And I haven't named that bird yet, so if you have any good name suggestions for a scary vulture-looking bird, I am taking suggestions. I didn't know you guys were with Red Pants. Yeah, I do most, or I shouldn't say most, I do all of their art on their channel. They originally hired me because they were making a show Bible for a TV show they had in mind, and I was the background artist that they hired on. And that was really, really fun. I got a lot of really good practice doing background work with them, especially cities. I did a lot of different just like street view drawings. So that was really fun. And they're still fun to work with, but I kind of miss doing the nice big detailed backgrounds. They were really fun. Okay, looking pretty good, I would say. If Russell's emu is named Bee, then maybe the new bird's name should be wordplay of an insect. That's not a bad idea. That could be cool. Hello, thanks for joining us. I really like the comic now that I've read it after watching the shorts for years. Awesome, thank you very much. Change this tree here because it looks a little boring. I think I'm gonna change this one to like a spruce tree or something. Let's go up like this. I'm not always the best at drawing these, but we'll give it a shot. Love the shorts, especially the rambunctious little fox. Thank you. I have 250 little pumpkins and pranked my cousin on Halloween. That's a lot of little pumpkins. I really like Griff. I like his social awkwardness. Yeah, Luke is also a big Griff fan. You guys will have a lot to talk about. Why do only some animals have the glowing spots? I noticed that my sleeves had them like hazel. Yeah, that'll be a bit of a spoiler. But yes, if you pay attention, there is a commonality between them. It'll be explored more as the comic goes on, of course. Not my best trick, but not my worst, so it's okay. Yeah, I don't do these kind of trees super often. I usually default to just like branching ones. But I think this sells the creepy vibe a little bit more that I'm kind of going for. Not creepy, but, you know, telling scary stories in the woods vibe. We're gonna do a couple more of them, I think. Does stuff. Not all the animals are sentient. I think birds and fish aren't, so carnivores would eat them. That is correct. Birds and fish are not sentient, hence Beatrice being a pet, because otherwise that would be really, really weird. And yes, reptiles are sentient. So there's a little snake character in some of the shorts. Along with, I think, an iguana in one of them, one of the older ones. And there's a crocodile in the comic during the market scene, I believe. I appreciate Graycove having a semi-normal food chain. Yeah, that was a big thing when we first started making it. Because I really, like, I remember watching Beastars forever ago, and like, it's not my favorite show in the world, but like, the way they handle what the carnivores eat was really, really weird to me. And like in BoJack Horseman, they have one episode that talks about it where it's like animals that they pump full of chemicals to make them not sentient, so that they're like okay food animals. So they're like, these are the food people, they're not friend people. And that one was also like super creepy and dystopian. Good episode, but like, oh my god, it was so creepy. How is your snake, by the way? What was their name again? My snake is Aster. He is doing very, very good. He is getting bigger by the day. He's probably about 3 feet long now. But yeah, he's good. And yeah, sorry Luke, I can't tell you where Graycove is located. It will be revealed. But we're trying to keep that a secret for as long as we can. Yep, Little Aster. He has a very, very long, complicated name because I couldn't decide on one. And then I started just default calling him Aster, so that is his name now. But his full legal Christian name is Dr. Asteroth Reichard Montgomery, and I did make him a fake little PhD to go with it, which is somewhere on my computer, and I haven't printed it out yet. I'm planning on it eventually, and I want to just make a teeny tiny little laminated copy, there we go, to put up on his tank wall. I think we'll add some little willows or something. Do you have a snake pet? OMG, that's adorable. I love snakes. Me too. He's a ball python. Cute little guy. I've wanted one since I was in high school, so I was really excited when I, you know, could finally afford one and was in a position where it was okay to have a snake. I wasn't like in an apartment building or anything like that where I might get in trouble with the landlord. So I was really excited. Have you had snakes for your whole life or just recently? Just recently. Aster is my first snake. I had a pet lizard when I was a kid. But yeah, Aster is my first snake. And I got him about a year, maybe a year and a half ago. Or maybe closer to 2 years now. I think I got him in the winter, or like in like late fall last year, because there's a cutoff for when they can safely ship a reptile. He came in the mail. And they can't send them in the winter because then it's getting too cold and it could be bad for their health. Okay, and then I think I still want to keep this one tree that I drew before, but I think I'm gonna scooch it over into the middle a little bit more. Take all this. Yes, he was born in April in 2024. We don't have a precise day because usually it can take a few days for them to hatch. Like they'll start just kind of pipping where they stick their nose out of the eggs, and then they'll slowly come out of them over time. So you don't necessarily know which day specifically they come out on. Can Griff cook like his mom? It is funny to think Griff making slop. Yeah, I think his mom gives the vibe of the kind of mom who would make sure every single one of her kids would be able to cook and be self-reliant. I don't think she would fulfill the bad boy mom role of just expects them to get married to the stay-at-home wife who would take care of them. Like she would want them to be able to take care of themselves, you know, so they would have to know how to do their own laundry properly and how to clean and how to cook and all of that stuff. Do you guys have feel or hyperfixation on Graycove? I don't know if that's at me or at the chat. Aster should be given a PhD in medical practices for Graycove specifically. That's funny. Okay, so we're gonna put this tree back here. I think it's gonna end about here. We don't want it too close to them. It's gonna be behind these other trees. I want this to be more of the branching, snaggly looking one. You should start a merch shop. Yeah, we've been talking about it. I tried reaching out to one printing company to see if I could get a sample packet of some of their stickers and stuff. But they never actually got back to me about it, so I'm not really sure. So I might look at some other companies. And we were just looking at getting like maybe some stickers and stuff going. But there's a lot that has to go into it, like I have to figure out mailing costs and all that stuff. Okay, I got to go. Make sure to check out the final results. Well, thank you for joining us. It was nice chatting with you, Dr. Dro. Griff Mom teach him like Gordon Ramsay's how I imagine it now. I like that, that's funny. You see those clips where he's like really mean to adults but really nice to children? And I think if she were teaching her young kids how to cook, she would be the nice Gordon Ramsay. But yeah, I think if she had to like fix any mistakes from her older kids who should know better, it would turn into a Gordon Ramsay moment. That's really funny. Okay, let's turn this off, see how it's looking so far. Not too bad. I want to stick a bird in this tree over here. I gotta draw the campfire back in. Sketching some rocks. That's not what a rock looks like. Try that again. Griff's maybe a little too close, so maybe I'll push him back just a little bit. Maybe bump him down a bit. Pine tree, dead tree, pine tree. There will be more trees. These are just the important focus ones for the background. They'd probably be sitting on like rolled up blankets or something. I know I said this already, but I'm happy you guys liked my Halloween drawing. It was an absolute blast to make. Yeah, it was really, really cute. You did a good job on that one. I like the costumes that you picked out for them. too bad. I know this is going to be a coloring page, but I'm hoping I also have time to color it myself a little bit tonight. Okay, I think I want a nice looking owl sitting up in this tree. Alright, I gotta go now. Good night, everyone. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time, Luke. I just have to remember what an owl looks like off the top of my head. Greetings from Oregon, what did I miss? Not too much. We're just in the sketching stage right now. Trying to make a vaguely creepy Halloween telling stories by a campfire vibe. Hazel's so freaking adorable. That's good. I'm glad you like her. She's in the middle of trying to freak out her brother, and she is succeeding. The one annoying thing about doing forest backgrounds is that they can get kind of messy to look at. General branch shapes now. There we go. I want to add something in the foreground here, some plants or something. So I think maybe just like a little willow branch will do the trick. I'll come up on this side. It's okay if it covers Beatrice a little bit. Obviously I don't want to cover up too much, but I should probably switch layers. Oop. Come on. Mark is in the foreground saying he doesn't like this rock. Not quite on theme, but very funny. Okay. Now we're going to just... don't need the character ref anymore, so that's gonna go to the bottom. I don't really like deleting old drawings, just in case I had sketched something and then I forgot to add it in the cleanup sketch. I don't realize it, blah blah blah, you lose the sketch. So usually I kind of just put them in a folder of just banned drawings. But now, I think we're good to start on some line art for these guys. I think I have them cleaned up enough to figure it out. Wolf person turning into a human, terrifying. That's funny. Okay, and I'm gonna bump the lineup up to 6 points, because that's usually what I use for the webcomic. Don't like that line. I wonder if there's a name for a horror genre centered around something vaguely menacing standing in the woods. There probably is. Oh, weirdly, that just reminded me, the standing there menacingly reminded me when I was in college. I was walking back to my apartment from where the college was. I turned a corner and there's kind of like a parking lot that I would cut through, and it was right next to a building that I would kind of have to walk around, and at the end of the walkway next to the building, this guy was just standing in like this weird like A-frame pose with sunglasses on, not moving or saying anything, so I just turned around and went a different route. Like, I've seen enough horror movies, I'm not dealing with that shit today. Mad Max, that's a trap. Yeah, exactly. It has to be about the same size as this one. Close enough. I'm gonna make the necklace string just a little bit thicker. Stream or just escape a horror movie plot. That's funny. Yeah, that was all before Graycove. That was when I was still in college. I think I might have been working on the short film at that time. Which has Hazel and Russell in it, obviously, but I wasn't posting anything then. Some dude did a video essay about Graycove recently. He roasted the short film, so I just remembered. Yeah, he was not nice about the short film, but also the short film is definitely not my best work because it was very, very rushed. So it was valid, but... Either way, I did my best. How long do you think you can survive in a horror movie? I think it depends entirely on the horror movie, if I'm being honest, because like walking zombies, I could manage. I am one of the best shots in my family, and I know how to use a bow, shotgun, rifle, all of the fun stuff. Running zombies? I'm dead. I'm gone. Is the short film posted anywhere? Yep, it is on YouTube and it's on my personal website. It is called The Car and Proceeding Crimes. It is very rough. I did my best. I like the heart behind the short film. Well, thank you. I only had 6 months to make it, and I had to do every single step on my own. Well, I shouldn't say on my own. Obviously, I had the direction of teachers and stuff giving advice, and we had a person come in to teach us how to make rigs for our short film. But, you know, it was still 6 months while taking classes and everything. So it was very rushed. I needed it to graduate. And yeah. The one thing the guy complains about is the voice acting in it. He says that the voice acting is not good, which is because I just took 2 of my classmates and I said, hey, you're voicing my characters, get in this booth with a microphone. So they're not voice actors. I still think they did a good job. But yeah. Gotta roast the roaster. Yeah, I don't want to get negative. He had valid points in his criticism. You're gonna be a star today, push into recording booth. Pretty much, and like, if you've seen it, you would know at one point Russell just screams at the top of his head. They both do. But I had to get my super nice introverted friend to scream in a sound booth in front of a bunch of people, and I'm sure that that was not fun for him. So all things considered, he did a wonderful job. Because I wouldn't have been able to do it myself. Hypothetically, would they have stories about Bigfoot, or would he have disappeared with the humans? That's a really good question. I think, for the most part, he would have disappeared, but I think because we have so many, like if you go into a bookstore, they usually have, like, a cryptid section, or, like, a mythology section, and, like, they have, like, Bigfoot stickers and stuff that... if characters like Russell and Hazel were going around enough, they might have found stuff like that and, like, thought it was a funny thing. But I don't think that they would, you know, believe in Bigfoot, or they would just be like, yeah, that's just like a gorilla, or it's a guy in a suit, whatever. But that is fun to consider, though. If they would have their own cryptids. Why would we pick Bigfoot when we could pick a fun one? Exactly. The way Russell hugs his tail, I love it. Not him being scared, just the tail hug. It's cute when foxes snuggle up to their tail. I agree, and I like that being his, like, comfort move. I just think it's really cute. Would dragons be a cryptid in the eyes of Graycove? Oh, that's a good question. Would they have dragons? I mean, they have lizard people. So that's... I don't think that's too far-fetched of a leap for them. I'll have to consider that. Is Russell the more scaredy cat of them all, or Griff just have a brave guy persona? I think Russell would have a reasonable amount of fear, considering he is 2 feet tall and would be very, very easy to injure or kill, or, you know, if someone wanted to hurt him, it would be easier for them to do so, versus Griff or Hazel. So I think he would have a reasonable amount of caution for a fella his size, but the job that he has of, like, going into human ruins and doing all of that, I think that would require a certain amount of guts that a lot of other characters wouldn't have. So I think he would be scared, but he would persevere through it. Because he's just a little guy. Yeah, he's not scared of Griff, because he knows that Griff is a law-abiding guy. He's not gonna actually do anything to him. You know? I should give them their spots and stuff before I move on. Some little snakehead guys, trust me, one day I'm gonna grow wings and breathe fire like a dragon, like the one in the Human Story. That'd be really cute. I only recently discovered Graycove is their lore behind why Hazel's spots sometimes glow. Yes, but we haven't gotten to it yet, and I cannot tell you because spoilers. It will eventually be revealed, and that's all I can say. There is a smidgen of information that's gonna be dropped in the page that goes up tomorrow, and that is all I'm gonna say. You can tell us, we won't tell anyone. Nice try, I'm not falling for that. Smidgen is a lot more than you think if Luke's exploring it. Yeah, Luke is one of the reasons why we have to be really, really careful about what we reveal. Because yeah, we definitely had a few moments where we thought we were being subtle with something and he'd point something out we didn't think people would notice, and we had moments of like, oh, okay. They do see what we're doing. We gotta be careful. Good thing the glow isn't too bright. I hope Russell doesn't have a hard sleeping with a family, full bright light. That's funny you say that. I had one short comic, and I might recreate it because I made it forever ago and it doesn't look very good now. Of when they were younger, of him being woken up when like Hazel cracks her back in her sleep or whatever and lights up the room. Of him just getting mad and just throwing a blanket on top of her and being like, tomorrow I'm asking Dad for my own bedroom. Awesome, well thank you for joining us. Have a good night. That sounds hilarious, Marshall. I'm glad you like it. I'll probably remake it at some point for one of the chapter intervals. Just like a short little funny one for in between chapters. Yay, looking forward to it. Also, does Hazel need a torch if she could glow? I'm sure having a torch and like additional light would be helpful, but I think her spots would be bright enough if she were in a dark, place or outside at night, whatever it is, to at least see a little bit. Or at the very least make it easier for the people standing around her to see stuff, since the majority of her spots are on her back. Glow in the dark friend. Yeah, exactly. Some of your werewolf comments reminds me that I need to watch Wolfwalkers again soon. Me too, that is such a good movie. I'm pretty sure when I was looking at studios and applying for work, I applied to their studio. I was like, yes, please, I will move to Ireland. Just let me work with you. Your movies are amazing. haven't seen a good werewolf movie in a while. In all fairness, I don't think there are too many good werewolf movies, unfortunately. We watched a werewolf movie recently, but I don't know if I'd call it a good one. I can't even remember the name of it. It was very strange. Yeah, I had the guy, oh gosh, he's in Guardians of the Galaxy. He plays like the big fella who's shirtless the whole time. Drax, I think? It was a very strange movie. But I'm gonna take a quick break just to go hydrate, because talking for this long is difficult. And I will be right back. Okay, I am back. Rehydrated and ready to yap more. Okay, let's add a Beatrice. We're gonna ignore the foreground stuff and just draw her in like normal, and then whatever the foreground covers will cancel it out, so that's fine. That's awful. Let's try that again. I randomly stumbled across the Wolfwalkers graphic novel at my local bookstore, so I didn't realize how many books and movies were turned into graphic novels. Yeah, it's pretty cool to see. We got to see quite a few of them when we worked at the bookstore where we met. There's a lot of really, really cool graphic novels out there. Hello! Thank you for joining us, other Sid. There's not very much to draw for Beatrice, thankfully, with this pose. There are graphic novels? Yeah, I think there's graphic novels for every one of the movies from that studio, like Wolfwalkers, oh gosh, I'm completely blanking on the name. The Kell one. Oh gosh, and I think there's a third one. Anyways, I'm pretty sure they made graphic novels for all of those. It's just Sid098. I don't know. Oh yeah, other people are having the same issues with that. I don't know why. I guess it's a weird YouTube thing. Okay, there are characters. Normally I fill in their noses with the base color, but if this is going to be a coloring page, I should probably leave that so people can choose what color they want their noses to be. So next we're going to do the middle ground, which is kind of just what they're sitting on. They're all just kind of sitting on some like folded up blankets or something. If they're camping in the woods, they would have tents somewhere else. So I'll pop up a bit under the foot. Did they each bring their own blanket? Yep, they would have to if they're traveling in the woods. Russell usually travels with a little wooden cart that Beatrice pulls, so he would probably either like sleep in that or like use that as part of the tent as the support, but That's a blanket fact. Also, consider drawing a ditch next to Russell instead of seating him on a blanket, assuming foxes in Graycove like dens like our foxes do. It depends on individual basis. They all want the comfort of a regular home, but like Griff's family, the den that they live in is mostly underground, partly because I wanted it to, you know, be like a wolf den that they make when they're having children. So that is why. But Russell lives with a deer family, so he probably doesn't have that as a characteristic so much, because he'd be used to their above ground house, and he likes the comforts of home. But the little blanket he's sitting on here is the one that he puts over Beatrice's back sometimes. Yeah, they do have like human levels of sentience, so they would choose comfort, you know? Why make a potentially cold and wet hole in the ground when he could live in a nice warm house? Oh shoot, I'm still on the character line art. Yeah, that's fine. That could be part of his character line art. I joined in here because I saw you were live. This is actually very interesting. Well, I'm glad you're enjoying yourself. And the blanket he uses has a little stripe in it. There we go. Can't remember if it's one stripe or two, but I'll leave it at one for now, and I'll fix it later if I find out I was wrong. Some things are just instinctual. Yeah, that's true. They would have some stuff like that. Just a random question, but is this your own comic or is it an anime/show you're making a comic for? It is my own comic. I started working on the characters in college. I made the deer and the fox first as part of a short film. And then once I graduated college, I was looking for work and I wasn't finding any, so I started just making little YouTube shorts about them because I was bored. And then they surprised me by taking off, and now this is my job. And so we started the comic after that. Everything falls into place. It was meant to be, I guess. Just Hazel and Russell. It's weird to think of the story without her, Beatrice, and Griff. Yeah, I have. Around the time I started working on their sketches and drawing them, I think I started drawing Griff around that time as well. He looked very different in the original sketches. He had a lot more like a triangular look over his kind of more boxy look that he has now. And like a lot more sharper edges, where now I do a lot more like rounded edges for all of the characters because that's just part of the art style. And like I think Herb looked kind of different too. I drew this old turtle lady a lot when I was first sketching them out, and I think she is going to be a character at some point in the comics. I just don't know when. I think a lot of my original sketches for Russell, he was a lot skinnier and had like longer arms and legs. Mostly they were doodles. They were doodles in like my work notes. No, Turtle Lady was something else. I think Hazel was the Fia stand-in originally. Do you have a comic book series that is paperback, hardback? Not yet. We don't have enough comic yet to even consider publishing. So at the moment we are posting on Webtoon if you're interested. There should be a link in the description of this video. We are currently on chapter 5 and I've been making it and working on it for over a year now. So it's probably gonna be a little while yet until we get to a stage where we can talk about publishing and what that would look like. Does Russell's ostrich/bird have a name? Yes, her name is Beatrice. We've been just calling her B. Comic gaining popularity. Patrick, who are you people? That is kind of what it felt like. The first one that like really went off was such a huge shock of like, where did all these subscribers come from? Who are all these people? Why are they interested in this? I was drawing this because I was bored. And the job hunt was not going well because the animation industry at the time was doing really, really bad. And I think it's still not doing the best, but I haven't really been paying close attention since I've been so busy with this stuff. Congratulations on chapter 5. Thank you. We're nearing the end of it. We're getting close. It's definitely the longest chapter so far. Well, I don't know if we're getting close, but we're at least at the over halfway mark, I hope. And then the chapter after that will probably also be a pretty long one. Is Beatrice an ostrich? No, she is an emu, which is very close, but in my opinion they're a lot cuter. They do also have ostriches. I think I drew some in one of the larger backgrounds in the first few chapters. So they do use them similarly to how we use like pack animals. They can pull carts, carry people as long as they're not too heavy, stuff like that. Well, technically we're seeing a new step in art industry with you and others who do their thing. Yeah, that's a good point. It's interesting to see how many people are able to do stuff similar to me and be able to live off of that. Downloaded Webtoon just to read your comic. I'm really enjoying it so far. Thank you. Yeah, it's been a lot of work, but it's been very rewarding. And it's cool to be my own boss. It's been a strange experience. I thought B was an emu. Yep, she's an emu. I was saying no, she's not an ostrich, she's an emu. Sorry, I might have said that a little strangely. Found the webtoon. I'm reading chapter 2. Awesome. The first few chapters are a little rough art-wise. I should probably go back and make some edits, but I will be doing that in the future at some point when I get the time. Emus want to war in real life. Yep, that's why you don't mess with them. Beatrice is Russell's security. let's get started on some of this background line art. Emotional support emu for a fox, we need to see more of it. Yeah, you'll see more of them eventually in the series. Russell's in the next chapter more. The next chapter is going to focus on him and Hazel. I just noticed you use chill hop music and I feel relate. Yeah, it's a good, like we don't have to pay licensing or anything like that for it, which is nice. We don't have to worry about copyright. I can't wait for you to release the paperback comic book. I hope when you do that it becomes a bestseller. Well, thank you. Here's hoping. It'll be a while before we get to that stage, but it is exciting to think about. When that does happen, will there be a community post on your channel? There will probably be a lot of posts on my channel about it. If we got to that stage, I would be so hyped. Yeah, you wouldn't be able to avoid posts about it. Yeah, exactly, like 3 years from now, probably. Again, we're only on chapter 5, and we're kind of still in the intro of the story, I guess. Things are kind of just starting to really kick off now. It is still faster than some comics I read. That's fair. It's a lot of work to be able to get a page out every single week. It can get a little overwhelming sometimes, but I'm pretty good at pacing it out. And like I said, I work for another group of Red Pants Productions, so I do a lot of work for them, so I kind of have to you know, space it out, so I'll spend a couple hours a day on Graycove and then a couple hours a day on their stuff, so. So yeah, I'd probably be able to do more pages every week, but I like working for Red Pants as well, so we gotta keep that up. Okay, well, he's not quite freeloading right now. He's going to school. He's getting his education. I know this is a mildly personal question, but how long have you been working for the other company? That's a good question. It's been over a year now. I know that for sure. Maybe 2 years? Sometime after school, before Graycove started really taking off, they hired me to do background art for their show Bible. And then it's kind of just slowly transitioned into making shorts for their production company. And they're still working on like trying to get their show off the ground on the side as well, but we're focusing more so on their YouTube channel at the moment. I really just like doing the line art for trees and stuff. They're a lot more fun when it's just like sketchy and fast. Awesome, well thank you both for joining us. Have a lovely rest of your evening. Out of curiosity and for conversation, is there any reason behind Hazel's name? Yeah, the entire red deer family are named after plants, and some of them are named after colors, so Hazel and Russell being colors, but also plants, and then Herb and Daisy, their mom. I like the theme. Yeah, and it's, you know, it's fitting with Herb and Hazel both being herbalists. It kind of fits that they'd want to continue that trend. The wolves also follow theme. Griff's family, for the most part, are all named after characters from my favorite horror novel / TV show. Yeah, we're trying to see if anyone would figure out what the book / TV show we named them after is, and one person hinted that they had figured it out, and I think that they had, but they didn't actually say what they thought it was. If it's any sort of reference, I'll probably not get it. LOL. Yeah, I mean, it's not that important. It was just like a fun thing that I decided to do just because I really, really love the show, especially, and the book. They're both really good. I could guess Tales from Graycove, but that feels like cheating. Yeah, not quite. Good guess. Do we get a prize if we win? You get bragging rights. That's a pretty good prize. We don't really have anything else to give you. If you get it, then Jasper's ego's put a little closer back in place. That's funny. Yeah, good luck with that. You're not gonna make a dent in his ego. How's this looking so far? Not bad. Normally I just stream till 9:30. If I want to finish this tonight, I might have to go a little bit past that, but we'll see. This background might go faster than I'm anticipating. That's a pretty tree. Thank you. I'm quite liking how these ones are turning out. Usually I don't really like drawing like spruce trees and stuff like that. I usually go for the more twisted branches, but it's pretty good. Do you think Russell ever scavenges Scarecrow, didn't understand his purpose, and went, useless? Maybe. I mean, in Graycove they have training dummies that are vaguely human-shaped just because, you know, it's just head, torso. So he might have assumed that they were for that and got confused about why they're in, like, the middle of a field. But they probably have their own bird problems with, like, gardening and everything, so he might have figured out what it was for, or, you know, they might have something similar that they use to keep birds away from their crops. Although it is funny to think that he would find things that are really valuable to us and been like, clearly this is junk. Does the snake in the shorts have a name? Yes, he is based off of my pet snake, Aster. So his name is Aster. This tree, we're gonna lower the line art a little bit because it's further back. We're gonna go down to, I think just a 5 is good. Not a huge difference, but are they a ball python? Yep. He is a pinstripe yellow belly, I believe. This owl does not look bad considering I have 0 references for barn owls. Spoke too soon. Banana pinstripe yellow belly, right, thank you. Oh, that's fun. Someone's either setting off fireworks near our house or shooting a gun. Not sure. Either way, not my business. It's probably fireworks. The Wolfgang wouldn't happen to have family in Grayfield. I don't know what Grayfield is. Well, I don't know what you're referencing. I assumed it's a joke. I'm guessing because it's Graycove, but a field. Well, like, it could be a reference to a show I don't know about. I don't know. Does Griff howl on a full moon sometimes? Probably not. Wolves in the wild don't specifically howl at a full moon. That's more of a communication thing. It's for communicating over long distances. So his family might do that sometimes if they were separated. Or how much thought is put into each line is funny to speculate how far outside the lines it'll be colored. Yeah, I'm getting a little detailed with this one. I posted a different coloring page on Coffee a few days ago of Hazel's bedroom, and I was looking at it and thinking, oh gosh, I put too many little details in. Whoever colors this is gonna get annoyed with me. And this might turn out to be similar, but that's okay. Super adorable picture. Thank you. Human sentience thing, I think, too, like the fox den thing from earlier. Yeah, exactly, like, you know, with sentience, they would lose a lot of, animal actions, I guess, or behaviors. So yeah, they wouldn't be howling at a full moon, sorry to disappoint. They probably would if there was like an emergency. And that's probably about it. Or just for fun if they're kids, you know? You know, like how kids just enjoy yelling sometimes. Thanks for joining us, Norsource. Have a lovely rest of your evening and happy Halloween. If I can manage to finish this tonight, I'll be posting it on Coffee tomorrow. Was in reference to human sentience eliminating some animalistic impulses for the characters. Yeah, 100%. It definitely would. You know, with sentience, a lot of those actions would just get really awkward to watch. You know? Or just wouldn't be needed anymore. Like, you don't exactly have to scent mark your house. You have a mailbox at the end of the driveway now. You can put your name on it. You know, you have a door. You don't have to worry about someone just wandering in. Then why did you leave comments on for your stream? Oh, we still like to chat with people. We enjoy the questions, they're interesting. It makes me sitting here doing line art slightly more interesting. More fun. Why are you comment? Why are you in the comments section? That's funny. I am back. I was surprised the stream is still going. Yeah, we're still going. I'm hoping I can finish this up tonight. I would like to be able to post it on Coffee tomorrow. And then eventually I'd like to color it in myself as well, but my goal is just to get the line art done. Wow, so good progress. I really like it. Thank you. And normally I wind down around 9:30, so we're gonna see if we can finish the rest of these trees in the next 20 minutes. We'll see. So how do you guys feel about fan art? Mixed feelings. For example, Luke has made some fan art of Graycove, and his work is super cute. Absolutely love it. It's adorable. He just posted one for Halloween. You know, it's lovely. I love seeing fan art like that. It's so cool to see other people get excited about these characters. But there's also... Sorry, we like fan art regardless of skill level as long as it isn't gross. Yeah, exactly. So we've already seen some gross ones, unfortunately, that I wish I could scrub from my brain. And those ones I don't appreciate as much. I don't really like seeing them. I don't like them being out there on the internet, but you know, there's nothing we can really do about that. It's gonna happen either way, unfortunately. But if your plan is to just make cute, wholesome fan art with a similar vibe of what I'm working on now, what Luke has made so far, we love it. We love to see it. We don't care about the quality or, you know, skill level or what medium it's made out of is just really cool to see. But yeah, Gross fan art, not so much. Not a fan. The art is easy enough. I like that I can make fan art with my level of skill. Awesome. Okay, now I got the last of these trees. We're gonna put this on a different line art, and then we're gonna bump down the line thickness a little bit. Yeah, Dr. Dro, you don't want to know. Don't look it up. I regret seeing it. You probably will too. Maybe I should draw some fan art, my character making selfie with Hazel and Russell. Yeah, go for it. Like I said, if it's good, wholesome fun, we love to see it. Good, wholesome fun is a strange way to word it. I couldn't think of a different way to word it. I've been progressing, not doing wiki work. I think I should fix that. Cool, cool. I've seen a couple people add some stuff and make some changes. I haven't really been checking it very much either, to be honest, but it's also a fan wiki. I'm not supposed to be changing anything.
Yeah.
Honestly, extremely amateur work drawing things that have a defined shape and meaning. When I draw, you question yourself, and me too. That's funny. For the first, like, 5 words, I was offended, but that's funny. Yeah, exactly. There's no pressure at all in working on the wiki. It is amazing that you made one to begin with. That's really cool. So yeah, there's no pressure from us. Man, I am getting sick of drawing trees, not gonna lie. Look at this cool sweater these trees found for this one coloring page to avoid drawing more trees. That's really funny. The first short that catch my attention, the Graycove story, was the yellow snake liking bugs. Yeah, I think that was the first short that like really took off. I think that one was a lot of people's introduction to Graycove. Which is really funny because when I first made it, I didn't think it was gonna do well. I was just kind of just having fun with it. I was like, oh, I'll just draw my snake because I feel like it. And then it turned out to be one of the most popular ones, which is crazy to me. Oh, right. Baby Russell was the first really popular one. That one, however, I knew was gonna do well because Baby Russell is adorable. Not as well as it ended up doing, that part still blew me away, but... Okay, let's drop in some bushes and get away from these trees for a minute. My attention was grabbed by the one where Russell pretends to be related to that critter and he's told to think of it like stealing. Yeah, I like that one a lot, and I was trying to find an excuse to use an over the garden wall audio, and that one was just perfect. Big fan of your comic and art. How long will it take for animals to start figuring out how to restore human vehicles? Good question. It's part of what Russell does is restoring human objects. He's not quite at the level of full vehicles yet. I don't know if or when he'll get to that point. Yeah, so like the things that he's gonna start with are like radios and music players and stuff like that so that they can listen to CDs. And yeah, in the short film they mess around with the car, but it's more of they're pretending to be bank robbers and stuff like that. It's they're playing make pretend in it. Russell gonna sit in the car with a booster seat. Yeah, he'll tie some bricks on sticks so he can work the gas pedal. Yeah, there would be a lot of steps in getting cars to work again and figuring out a fuel source and how to do all of that. So I don't know if they'll ever get there. For now they use cars as just walls or building junk. Yeah, exactly, that's what the hyenas like to do. Their entire camp is just built up of cars and scrap metal. It didn't take humans very long to make our inventions. Things like cars and electronics are relatively new in terms of our history. It would be funny to see cars being pulled by animals like wagons. That would be pretty funny. It'd probably be pretty heavy. Unless they like took out a bunch of the scrap and stuff that they don't need. Well, even then, it'd still be pretty heavy. Last thing about humans, would there still be at least a few pockets of humans out there, or are they isolated due to fear from other animals? That's one of those things that we're not gonna answer because spoilers. Whether there is or is not will remain up to date. Or up to debate, sorry. Happy Halloween, by the way. What are you doing tomorrow? I think we're going to a party tomorrow. I think one of our friends is throwing a Halloween party. I'm fairly certain it's tomorrow, because what other, you know, having it in November would be a little weird. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's tomorrow. We're so close to being done. Okay, let's see how it's looking without all the... Okay. Yeah, I think this is looking pretty solid. Part of me wants to keep adding more trees because it kind of just looks like it stops. But part of me also wants to leave that far back how it is so that if you decide to color it, or if anyone does want to, you can kind of fill it in how you like, and like whether it's going to be stars or if it opens up to a field, if there's just going to be more trees. Yeah, not bad. Okay, I'm gonna add in the foreground grass and some branches, and then I think we can call it a night. And now I know I can start a picture from scratch and get to at least the line art within one evening, so that's good to know. Or within one stream. Okay, we're gonna bump up the line art since this is the foreground. It's a little bit thicker. Yeah, there's Beatrice. She's gonna be covered up a little bit because there's gonna be a little branch here, but not too bad. Beatrice is Russell's support, excited to see more Russell later in the story. Yeah, me too. We haven't really been able to show him very much so far. And like he's not a major character in the first like story arc of Graycove. He is going to be more in the next chapter. Because him and Hazel are going to spend a day together. Is the dad's name Herb or Herbert? Just Herb. Love reading them so far. Oh, thank you. Yep, and Herb has a little shop called Herb's Herbs. That's annoying. How would animals react to video games? Russell would be a menace playing Grand Theft Auto. Funny enough, I did a little sketch, oh gosh, I can't remember where it is, of Hazel and Russell playing video games where Russell is like sitting on her shoulders, so his like game controller is rested on her head. I think I put it in the compilation video where it's showing a bunch of the shorts all together. There's some like art on the side as well, and I think you can see it in there. The controller isn't plugged in. That's funny. Oh yeah, it's also on the website. Live subscription services wouldn't last into Graycove's timeline. That's correct. If you can't get it on a disc or something, then they wouldn't be able to play it, you know, or see it. Awesome. Well, I think that is everything. Not too shabby if I do say so myself. And I guess this is where we can call it a night. So I will be posting this tomorrow on Ko-fi as a high-res download, so if you're interested in coloring it, you can go onto the website. It'll be there available for download. You can either print it off and color it by hand, or if you want to do a digital one like this, then you just have to download it, set it as the top layer in whatever program that you like to use, set it to multiply, and you should be able to color underneath it. And yeah, I will probably color it myself at some point as well to post somewhere, because I think it'd be really fun to do all the fire and like the lighting of it all would be really cool. But for now we're gonna call it a night, and I hope you all had fun watching me doodle and yap. Cool. Well, bye.